Hey guys, we are coming to this new session of top 81 to 100 frequent characters, pinyin and the stroke order. So I guess you are quite familiar with the content or the style of this kind of lecture already, and I hope so. But we still need to pay more attention to the details in writing the characters, especially like the sizes of the radicals, the positions, and distance, and so on, as I briefly introduced in my previous Zoom class. So maybe you still remember that I emphasized on kind of left and right structure. In some cases, the left part is wider than the right part, but in more cases, actually, the right part is wider than the left part. And also in some classes, some of you may have learned that we also should pay attention to the sizes, especially the height of the upper and the lower parts in the upper lower structure, right? Or top bottom structure. So here, the number 81 character 走, it actually resembles some of the some parts of the 是 character, number 2 character. If you take a look at the number 2 character, you will find actually this 走 share the same bottom part as the 是, okay, which actually start from here. And the top part of this 走 is like a cross of horizontal and vertical strokes. As you know, we should do the horizontal first, right? Okay, and especially here, you should also pay attention to the position of these parts. They actually stick together, right? So the cross and the lower part stick here, and this vertical, this short vertical here, and the last stroke stick here, okay? So just don't make them too separated, as I have witnessed that some of you have done before. And for this ta, this is the non-human ta. We have done the male ta and the female ta before. And this one is the animal or non-living things ta, okay? So we start with the cover like this, and then we write this thing, okay? It's easy. And for this ta, it's a little bit tricky or subtle, because here, if you pay attention to this part, you may find actually we have a cross here, right? Like horizontal and vertical, but it's kind of exceptional because we, after doing the top and the frame, we do this one first and then the horizontal one, which is a little bit exceptional. And then the last thing will be this character spanning stroke, like this very wide 横, okay? Horizontal one. And for this 语, well, this one is quite easy. You just follow the from top to bottom principle. Write this short 横 first, and then the turning one 折. This time you have to turn 3 times. First here, second here, and third here, okay? And then you do the longer 横. You may find actually these two 横s, these two horizontal strokes, they are parallel to each other. So that's why we should follow the rule I introduced before, that whenever we have two parallel strokes, usually the second one should be longer, right? Okay, and for this 呢 and for this 之, we have typical left and right structure, right? But interestingly, for this 呢, actually we have a wider right part. And for this 之, we have a wider left part. So please do pay attention, okay? And I don't think we need to introduce too much about this square thing, which you have been quite familiar with. And for this style, just one thing to remember. You should remember this bottom enclosure last, which means this part. It should be written last. So in most cases, we write this part as the last step in writing the whole character. Okay, so, and you do need to pay attention to the details here, because we have 2 parallel 横s inside, not 1, not 3. Okay, it's 2. And for this tian, just pay attention to the two parallel hengs here. The first one shorter, the second one longer, okay? That's the normal way that we do with this character. Although you may, if you travel to Japan, later you may find actually, in many cases, Japanese people write the first one a little bit longer, but it's not so normal in China, okay? And you take a look at this way, it's also just the typical left and right structure with the wider right part, okay? Which in normal cases, it's just the ordinary situation. And for this tie, you do this cross first, here with the hook, and then with the pied in the end. Okay, that's easy. And for number 91, xian, still the left-right, typically structure that we have seen. And the right part is wider, also taller, you see. And one more thing, pay attention to. Here, when you do this vertical pied, okay, it's quite vertical. You do not touch each side, okay? You may touch the top, it doesn't matter, but you do not touch each side. Okay, and here it should be a smooth turning and then a hook. Here for this yu, don't forget you really need to do the hook in the end. Otherwise, it will be another character. It will not be yu anymore. And for this ge, nothing special, right? So you just do this top first and then the bottom. And for this one, you may have paid attention to that. Actually, the top part is bigger than the bottom. Yeah, this is also a case. And for this gong, that's too easy. Just bear in mind that you need to do the second or the last heng wider than the first one. Zuo, also just left and right with a wider right part. And detail here, two parallel heng here. Okay, because they're too tiny, so it's not necessary to make the second one longer. But if you do make the second one longer, that would be good. Okay, and for this yin, just one thing bear in mind, that you do this central one, this kind of contents here, right? And you'd better not to let it touch each side. It's just the yin that float inside, okay? And do this closure as the last step. And for this xiang, also nothing special. Just make sure that you let the central part float, which means without touching each side, okay? That would be good, just in the center. And for this yi, if you compare it to the previous ji that we have learned before, you may find they are quite similar, but this one, as I told you before, this detail here, for yi, you should make this part higher than the cross, okay? But for that previous ji that we have learned before, you just make it as a turn here, okay? Looks like a turn, not like this. So that's the difference. And I will show you the detail in our Zoom class later. And for this jing, okay, nothing special, right? Just remember here, you do two turning here, turning one, turning two. Okay, nothing special. And also here you may find a tiny gong with the second heng longer than the first one. All right, and also the same here, the second parallel heng longer than the first one in this bing or bing, okay? And here you may write the first vertical one as a pied and the second one as a shu. They are not both pied or not both shu, okay? Just the first one is pied and the second one is shu, which means different. Okay, please remember to submit your feedback to my email, as I wrote in every file. Here you may find it in the beginning of the document. Here is my email. Please do remember to send your feedback, your question, any confusion, and so on to my email box. Okay, and good luck. See you next time. Bye.